All right, wood floor installation. This floor gets a 0 out of 100. And I'm gonna show you everything you're not supposed to do in a wood flooring installation. First of all, this is where they started, this edge of the house here. Because if you look here at the vent, you can see all their tongues are run that way, okay? So that means they started here. In the first 12 rows, we get joint, no joint, joint, no joint, 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 joint. It just stair steps its way the fuck across the room. In the first 10 rows, 12 rows, somebody who was an installer should have looked at this and said, something's wrong. On top of that, all the ends, not a single end is cut square. You could drive a truck through that gap, all right? So, first things first, the installer and the layout guy fucking dropped the ball, okay? I mean, you own a chop saw, don't you? Cut the ends square, or at least push them together, best you can. I mean, this one's not even close to being pushed together. They just dropped some putty in there. And I don't care how much putty you pour on this floor, it ain't never gonna look fucking correct. I mean, installation is 80% of the job, period. And if it's not installed correctly, it's not correct. Now, let's look at this fucking gap. Holy shit. Wait, hold on. How about this one in front of the front door? All right, luckily, I put a piece of fucking quarter round over this because this edge was so jagged, it looked like fucking snaggle teeth. Okay? Now, let's go through the entranceway and into the kitchen. Oh, look, as soon as you walk in the kitchen, 1, 2, 3, 4 joints stacked in a row like that. Oh, look, more of them, just stacked on top of each other. It must have been the installer's first day. He must have had a good first day. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them in a row. This is everything you're not supposed to do. Oh, and look at this section here. You could play hopscotch on this fucking section because it's staggered like fucking teeth. All right? And besides that, the fucking gaps are just horrendous. They're horrendous. You don't do this when you're installing a wood floor. I don't care what material you have to work with. This one, it has a clear border outline. And I don't care how much polyurethane you pour on this. I don't care how much fucking putty you put in these gaps. It's never gonna look correct. It's just a fucking failure. It was like it was their installer or their layout guy's first day. Now, I'm not even done yet. How about this? Can you see the sheen by the door and around the cabinetry? Well, that's because the edge guy used a higher grit sandpaper than the guy who did the main floor with the barrel sander. And they didn't talk to each other. So you can see the difference in the sheen. And this has one coat of stain and one coat of polyurethane on it. But you can see the difference just in the fact that one guy sanded it better than the other guy. Because the higher sheen that's over there, that's because the guy who did the edging used a higher grit. The guy who did the main floor used a lower grit, and they didn't talk to each other. So there's another fucking problem. Installation and finish. Those are the two main things when it comes to doing a wood floor. Installation is 80% of the job. Finish, another 20%. I'm gonna say that between the gaps and the joints and, well, the gaps in the joints, the installation was a fail. And that's 80% of the floor. So how are you gonna fix that? Let's go upstairs, let's look at the master. This is the master bedroom. As soon as you walk in, joint, 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 joint. It's horrendous. It's terrible. Joint, 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 joint. I mean, I could park my fucking finger in there. That's how much that's gapped. That's 3/16 of an inch. It's unacceptable. It's completely horrendous. I mean, seriously, you can play hopscotch on this fucking floor. This is one of the worst installs I've ever seen in my life. I mean, look at this. And then they tried to fill it with putty. I don't care how much putty you pour on this floor. you're gonna see those gaps because the putty stands out like a sore thumb. Meanwhile, they did a transition board here. Their joints don't even line up. And they did a transition board here. Again, their joints don't even line up. And it's still jagged on the edge of the transition board because nobody decided to cut anything. Okay? And it's rampant like this through the whole house. Nothing is straight. You put a transition board here temporarily, you go tight to it, then you remove it later. Okay? The gaps. Here, how about this? They didn't even run it fully to the jamb. Trim didn't even cover that. It's horrible. I mean, even here, top of the stairs. And I could go on about this all fucking day because it's one of the worst fucking install jobs I've ever seen in my life. Here, the fucking tile guy had to put grout in this joint just to make it look fucking acceptable. He didn't install the floor. He did the fucking tile work, which was good. I mean, this is just, it goes on and on and on. And just the fact that all the joints are stacked on top of each other. I mean, look at this. How the fuck are you gonna do with that? Pour a gallon of putty in there and park my truck in there. It's fucking ridiculous. Yep. They're coming to do the finish on the, oh, look, let's walk in the master. Oh, look, they're just, oh, look, oh, you can follow the lines. There's another one. 9 joints, 10 joints in a row. It's terrible. This is everything you don't do with a hardwood floor installation. It's just horrendous. Anyway, I guess I'm done ranting. I've shown you pretty much everything. Every aspect of this job they got wrong. And, well, I just had to point it out and I needed it for video record. So, that's it. And honestly, considering this is the edge they started on, as soon as they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 rows deep, 11, 12 rows deep, and they saw this, somebody should have stopped and said something's not right here. I mean, look at this. First of all, neither end is square, and they put 2 of them together and they tried to putty it. That one, they didn't even fucking barely bother to putty. Apparently today they're gonna come to pour 12 gallons of putty on this and make it look good. But I don't think any amount of putty or poly will make this floor look good. I mean, this here is just snaggletooth. It's just wrong. You know, this board should have been a reject board from the beginning. The fucking gaps in it. It's just terrible. This is everything you're not supposed to do with a wood floor installation. Every single aspect of it is 100% wrong. Every aspect of it. There's nothing right about this floor. I mean, this one, they didn't even push the 2 boards together. There's still a gap. You know, at least in this one, well, they pushed it as tight as they could get it till the corners hit. But this one didn't even bother. You know, this one's still got a full gap. It's everything you're not supposed to do on a floor. Now, granted, this is under the range, but it's still shit. You know, here's the breakfast nook. 4 joints in a row right there. It's just bad. It's all bad. I mean, they tried to fill in these gaps thinking that they would fucking get it. Now, I know the house is out of square, so I can understand that this line here at the end didn't come in straight. Okay, house is out of square. I get that. That's not a big deal. At the very least, you fucking line your lines up. You have your fucking layout guy stagger your fucking joints, and you don't put them in a row like this. It's just terrible. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row. At the very least, you stagger them a couple inches, but you don't put them in a row like this. It's all bad. Every bit of it. It's a nightmare. Everywhere you look in this house. It's a complete fail. And whoever installed this floor, it must have been their first day, or they were really fucking hungover. But It's unacceptable. This is what you call an unacceptable wood floor. They didn't even push these joints together. It's just so bad. It makes my head spin. Not to mention the fact that I had to fucking redo this entire edge here because it was just a nightmare. It was unfinished, didn't have any router on it, nothing. You know, just a fucking nightmare. And meanwhile, I'm going back and I'm cleaning up their work. Right by the deck door, there's 4 of them in a row. You know, even against the door. Barely bothered to cut anything square. And if they did, they didn't get it tight. It's just terrible. I mean, I would even accept this over that or that any day. You know, just here, this stair stepping right here, I could accept that, but I can't accept that. 2 of them with only 1 board in between. I definitely can't accept fucking 5 of them in a row here. Nope. It's everything that you're not supposed to do on a fucking wood floor installation. 100% fail. Even on the finish. Just the sheen alone. You can see where the guy with the edge sander sanded to a higher grit than the guy who did the main floor with the barrel sander. And there's a obvious difference. And you could go back and sand that and make it correct, but you can't correct this now without pulling up the whole fucking floor. I mean, that's what really needs to be done. And at this point, the fucking house is pretty much finished. It's all done. So, hardwood guys, fucked up. You can see the fucking sheen here. Just with the daylight coming through the door. It's incorrect. It's bad. It's all bad. And just wanted to point out everything you're not supposed to do when you're installing and finishing a hardwood floor. It matters, and your reputation matters. And this is a company with a good reputation, but not after today. And they pulled a fucking fast one on my boss. And whoever did this, it was either their first day, they were drunk, they were hungover, I don't fucking know. But no amount of talking and saying, oh, it's gonna look perfect when we're done. No amount of putty, no amount of polyurethane can fix this fucking train wreck. The installation is the finish. And the installation is fucking horrendous. It's just terrible. Now I know it's a rough floor because it's fir. It's not oak. It's not pre-milled, you know, but at the very least you could have cut your end square. If you had a joint that wasn't jiving, you reject it or you tighten it up. But, and meanwhile, they're gonna correct it with 5 gallons of putty. It's just terrible. And the reason I left this floor so dirty is that so that someone would have to come in here and look at it. That's what I want. I want someone to look at it. And yeah, I'm just waiting for my boss to get here. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. And as soon as this fucking owner of the company starts to talk, I'm gonna open my fucking mouth and I'm gonna show him every fucking thing that's wrong with this. This is the second row. They didn't even bother to tighten it up. That's the first row. Didn't even bother to tighten it up. As soon as they saw that, somebody should have stopped and said, hey, get the saw out, cut the ends of these boards, period. I mean, this is 5 rows in, 6 rows in, I'm sorry. So, that's no more than a dozen rows to start. And as soon as something like this shows, that's when you stop, you put the brakes on, you say, hold on, we can't make a whole fucking house look like this. Something needs to fucking change. Either you need to get someone here to cut these boards, make them square, or we'll charge you a little extra to cut them square ourselves. And just that sheen right there, between that fucking 18 inches between the door edge and the main floor, where they sanded it good on the edges, but they didn't sand the middle. You can see it. You can see the roughness compared to the smoothness. It's all bad. It's all bad. It is one of the worst flooring installations I've ever seen in my fucking life. And whoever did this should be tarred and feathered. But anyway, I'm done talking. That's my opinion on this hardwood floor. It's not hardwood, it's softwood, it's fur. But it's wood flooring installation gone wrong, period. It's just a fucking nightmare. And should never been paid for this job, period. They should have fucking paid us to have to look at it. It's just bad. You know, all these joints in a row is just fucking bad. You don't do this shit. This is a no-no. 1, 2, 3, 4 fucking joints in a row like that with only one board in between. At the very least, put 2 boards in between like this. At the most and the best, you put 3 fucking boards in between with no joints. All right, I'm done ranting. I've obviously given you a really good example of what not to do. So please, don't ever install a floor like this. Have a good day and be safe.